Hello everyone, Daniel Yuck here. Thank you all for tuning in today. I appreciate you. Today we're going to dive into a video together and I'm going to share with you all some tips and tricks on how I go about achieving better tattoo lines. I'm going to be demonstrating with this custom mandala that I drew up right here, and I am going to be doing this on a piece of real skin right here, in which I will leave links in the description below. I will also be using my ink claw dagger with the Drago Art WX5 wireless power supply. Should you have any questions about anything that you see throughout this video, I'm going to encourage you to drop a comment down below. I will do my absolute best to assist you in the best possible direction. With that being said, let's dive straight on into this. So first and foremost, I would like to begin by saying what makes a good tattoo line. Now this may be subjective, as art is kind of subjective, but for me at least, what makes a good tattoo line is how consistent the line looks, but not only that, how saturated it is. So there is a couple of variables upon looking at lines is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for consistency, I'm looking for saturation, and I'm looking for stability within the lines as well. Like, I'm paying attention to wobbles, I'm paying attention to the tapering in and out, and I'm paying attention if the points are meeting correctly, if they're touching, and all of that. So for me, in a nutshell, what makes up a good line is the consistency, saturation, and overall readability of the lines that we're implementing, or inputting rather. So if our skills aren't aligned with the designs that we're trying to do, I feel it's going to show. If our quality of work and attention to detail is not where it should be, I feel it's going to show in our work. Now, in a nutshell, that's how I look at lines. For me personally, since my tattoos are densely lines, mostly lines here, I always want to make sure that I am doing each and every line as optimal as I can get it to the best of my ability. You get the idea. Okay, so within this demonstration, I'm going to be using the wormhole silicone hand, and I'm going to simply place down this piece of real skin right over the hand, so that way I'm not tattooing on a flat surface, so that way I can really demonstrate the points that I'm trying to make in this video. So when I'm pulling lines, there's some variables that I am considering, there's variables that I'm thinking about in my head to myself, so that way I could achieve the best results. Some of those variables are what needle sizes I'm going to use for the lines at hand. So off the top right here, the 14 round shader from Rain would be pretty good for this area right here. I do have a TNT 18 round shader that may be well for like these larger areas out here. In here, this may be good for like a standard or a 009 round liner in this area right here, and you get the idea. There's some other lines right here within these little details that can go with like a 3 round liner. So what you're going to want to do is determine the needles that you're going to be using. Unfortunately, I can't sit here and tell you which ones you're going to use for each and every design, as that's not how we would want to approach tattooing. We want to get comfortable with being able to determine what needles we're going to use. So I'm going to be using the Rain 14 round shader to demonstrate some of my points here. I'm also going to be using the ink claw dagger. So when it comes to pulling lines, one thing that I've seen in bad tattoo lines, it kind of looks as though the stability in which the lines were applied wasn't really thought out, and I also wanted to take some time within this video to touch base on that aspect. So for me, when it comes to lining, as of lately I've been lining at 8 volts. And I'm going to show you my needle hang here, how much I let my needle hang out. So I kind of let my needle hang out quite a bit when it comes to pulling lines. Now this is going to vary and be different for everyone. Everyone is different when it comes to, you know, where you want your needle depth and how you do things. So that's why I want you to take what you like, leave what you don't. You get my drift with that. Now, one of the main things that I am also thinking about after we've gotten past the design, after we've gotten past the needle configurations that we're going to be using, from that point forward, we're really going to have to be paying attention to how comfortable we are when we're actually pulling lines. You don't kind of just want to jump in and then just start lining away. You want to make sure that every single line from A to B is going to be as comfortable as you can be. So allow me to demonstrate. I'm going to pull a line right here, and I'm going to talk out loud and show you all what I'm trying to explain here. So I'm going to grab a little bit of ointment and I'm going to moisturize my area. When I'm pulling lines, one thing I like to do is I don't like to really fill it up, as I don't want pulling under my needle, but I always want to make sure that I have an adequate amount of ink to make it from A to B without having to go back in. Especially on mandalas, I always like to try and do every line with one single pass. So first and foremost, you want to make sure that you have an adequate amount of ink as well. before you even pull the line, you want to make sure that you know which direction you're going to go in, how you're going to be, how you're going to position yourself. So for something like this, I'm going to use my left hand as I would in real tattooing to stretch the skin, and I'm going to use my palms right here to stretch the skin even further. So what I'm doing is I'm finding out the position that is most comfortable for me to pull this line. And I could even kind of reenact. You don't have to commit right away if you don't want to. You can reenact as you see fit, whatever feels more comfortable to you on your end. Approach it that way. So what I'm trying to exhaust here is the fact that you should think about comfortability. You should think about how comfortable you are. So when I find my comfortable position, as you see, I'm stretching with this part of my left hand, and I'm using this part of my right hand to pull more and stretch as well. So once you find your position, you want to commit to your pulling of your lines. I will bring you up close so you can see what I'm doing up close under the needle, but I want to give you a top view as well. So what I'm doing is I'm committing to the A, I'm in where I need to be, and then I'm going to simply pull the line as best as I can all the way through until I've completed the line. And then from that point, I'm gonna simply dab down and then continue that process throughout the tattoo. So that's the idea behind it though. You're going to want to repeat that process throughout the entire tattoo, making sure that each and every line you're pulling, you're comfortable. And by the end of the tattoo, it's gonna reflect that sort of approach, that sort of attention to detail, that sort of maneuvering is gonna reflect in your work. So allow me to keep going here. So as you see, I'm using this part of my hand to really stretch the skin, and as well as I'm using these two fingers to stretch the skin as well. So notice that I'm going back to my comfortable position before I even begin to rush this line or even pull and commit to this line. So I make sure that I'm comfortable. I commit, and then I follow through it. I see it through until I'm done. And each and every move, you're gonna want to do it like so. So as you see, I'm just kind of working my way around. So as you see, I'm getting comfortable. I'm doing the exact same thing and nothing's changing. And that's repeating the process each and every time. So just take your time, find your comfortability, and then begin with your inputting of your line. Just like that, dab down, and I continue this process until I've completed the areas that I need to complete. Another thing that I do to pull the best lines that I can pull is I will position the client to, or whatever I'm doing, to my needs. So for example, I can position it this way to get to this line right here, should I need to do so. And allow me to demonstrate that. So we reposition the canvas, and I'm going to begin to find my comfortability points. And as you see, nothing changes. I'm using a 3-point stretch. And then I'm going to begin doing the exact same thing that I have been doing. Like so. Dab away, and then continue the process. Simply take my time. I make sure that I'm comfortable. I make sure that my positioning is adequate, and then everything else is the basics and fundamentals from there. So as you see, I'm doing a 3-point stretch again. I'm comfortable going this way. It's pulling up a little bit more than I would want, but I can feel the line out. Like so. And then you're going to repeat this right here as well. And we pull the line, remaining as consistent as I possibly can. So you can see though, these lines are starting to build up nicely here. as I'm taking my time and doing the absolute best that I can do to input the lines here. So as you see, we're getting nice, clean, smooth, saturated lines in my opinion. All of them are coming out to my liking here. And as you see, I'm just taking my time, I'm being gentle, I'm being delicate with the process. I'm making sure that I'm comfortable before I even start committing to these lines. So when it comes to awkward positions like this right here, for example, how it's kind of on the side of the hand as opposed to on the top, again, the same fundamentals are still going to apply. You're still going to make sure that you're comfortable before you commit to your lines. So I'm going to do the 3-point stretch. Nothing really changes there. I'm going to do the best here that I can do to pull these lines. So I'm going to kind of feel out how I want to maneuver. So this right here seems more natural to me. And then I'm going to begin committing to the line. You can hear that sizzle. That's how I know I've broken into the dermis. And I'm inputting the ink into the right place. And then continue with the other side over here. And then I'm going to repeat that over here on this side as well. And remember, I'm adjusting the comfortability to my liking. So I found my comfortable positioning for this area right here. And then I'm going to commit to the line like so. The more comfortable you are, the more natural your lines are going to flow. So that's why I'm exhausting comfortability. Make sure that you're in a comfortable position to pull the lines before you start committing. Do that 3-point stretch and then use your fundamentals. Use what you know. I'm in the dermis and I'm out. So as you see, we're starting to build this tattoo nicely. We're getting really nice, clean, smooth, saturated lines. So like this example right here, this area, how it's going on to this side of the hand. If you're comfortable to leave the hand like that, you can do that and then pull your line. If you want to put your hand and plant sideways, you can do so. Whatever you need to do for your comfortability is what you should be doing. So allow me to get comfortable here and I will commit to the line and pull it. So I'm pretty comfortable right here. I'm doing my 3-point stretch as best I can in this awkward area right here. I'm going to commit to the line, making sure that I'm hitting that dermis and that I'm staying there. Like so. As best as I can. I'm not suggesting that I'm perfect. However, I am suggesting that I'm happy with the work that I'm doing. And it reads well, so that's a plus. And then I'm going to continue. So I'm going to go ahead and get comfortable, position myself as best I can, hit the dermis and commit. Now you can see right here, this line didn't fully come out the way that I would have liked for it to have. So if that happens, I'm going to repeat the process again as best as I possibly can. Make sure I'm comfortable before I commit. And then I commit and just input that line like so. Perfect. To me that's great. Now I'm going to move on. So you really want to pay attention to the saturation, to how you're saturating and inputting the ink. Make sure that it's nice, clean, saturated before you move on, so that way the readability of the tattoo is nice, clean, and consistent when it's done. So I'm going to repeat that process right here. I'm always using ointment before I begin pulling the lines. And for this, I'm going to ask the client to move this way, so that way I can find a more comfortable position for me. And then I'm going to do my 3-point stretch, get as comfortable as I can get, and then begin pulling my line. Now my napkin and everything slid a little bit as I was doing this line. I'm not sure if you saw that, but if you're comfortable and little slips like that happen, you should be able to get away with it still. And if you're going to go over a line, just make sure that you're as consistent as you possibly can be, so that way the line looks like it's one clean, consistent line. See how it's jerking on me there? So if you saw that on both of these lines, my canvas did jerk a bit. Now, being comfortable before I started pulling the lines allowed me to get to these lines safely without ending with drastic results that would have fluctuated. So what I'm saying is the line still came out clean, even though there was a few jerks in there, or a couple of jerks in there. We still were able to pull nice clean lines, and that is actually like more of a real life situation on what could happen. Sometimes your clients will just jerk and move all of a sudden because we hit a nerve or the pain was a bit too much in that area, and it happens, which is why I'm exhausting making sure you're comfortable before you start committing to your line. So I have a TNT 18 round shader right here, and I'm going to use this round shader to pull a bit more lines right here with you all on this aspect right here. So again, this is the 18 round shader, and I'm essentially matching it to the thickness of this line right here. I do feel like a little bit thicker of a line weight would look nice right there. I'm going to begin and just put ointment, making sure that I have an adequate amount of ink in my resin or my tip tube there. And then I'm going to do the same exact thing. I'm going to find out how I'm comfortable, and then I'm going to begin to commit to the lines. Now this one may be a little bit tough because of how close it goes to the fake skin, how close to the edge. However, being comfortable could help to get better results. So make sure, again, you're finding your comfortability. That doesn't change. For me, I'm going to kind of go this way. So I'm comfortable, I'm in the dermis, and then I'm going to commit. Now my client started jerking a little bit, so I'm going to apply a bit more pressure to keep them stable, so to speak. And I'm going to be nice and patient with the pulling of this line right here, as it is the centerpiece. Like so. Dab away, and then I'm going to continue. So for this other line right here, I would ask the client kindly to turn this way, so that way I could get comfortable and pull the line like that way. And again, if you notice, I'm exhausting getting comfortable, finding your positioning before you commit to the line. Essentially, that is what it is. That's where it's at for me, at least. Paying attention to those sort of details. Okay, this is going to be a little bit harder of a position, so I'm going to have to adjust a little bit this way. You get my drift. So that thought process is what's allowing me to be calm, cool, collected, and pull clean, saturated lines. So I'm going to repeat this as well. And then I'm going to just take my time, find my comfortability, my 3-point pull, and then I'm going to begin committing to my line. Like so. Dab away, continue the process. So you can really see right here that taking the time to find our positioning before committing to a line is really making for a better quality tattoo, a better read of the tattoo, and my lines are coming out to my liking the way that I want them to come out. And this is going to apply to any size needle configuration that you are using, whether it's a 3-round liner or even buck pin, standard, 00, 3-round liner, 7, 9, 11, round shaders. It does not matter. These fundamentals are still going to apply to each and every needle configuration that you are using. So right here we have a DK Labs 0011 round liner that I feel would work well for these areas in here. And again, the same thing applies. We're going to want to get comfortable, making sure that we are in a nice comfortable position before we commit to the line. And my needle depth, I always try to keep it pretty much the same. I like for my needles to hang when I'm tattooing, so I always go back to that sort of hanging approach, doesn't matter what size it is. And then I'm going to maneuver my client to a position that I am comfortable with, and I'm going to keep saying the same thing over and over, because essentially that's what I'm doing. I'm using the same fundamentals over and over and over to complete this tattoo. Making sure I have an adequate amount of ink in my tip tube right there so I can get from A to B. And I'm going to find my 3-point stretch, and then I'm going to begin to pull my line. Same approach, and then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to maneuver my client, and then I'm going to from here to here. And I'm going to repeat that process until I'm done with the area, and then I can move on to my next area. So keep in mind, we did use a round shader, now we're using a round liner. So same rules still apply, nothing's really changed. Nice, clean, smooth, saturated lines. Use your discretion as well to figure out what needle configurations are right for you. Again, that is going to help you develop into being able to find your own style, getting comfortable with picking needles. Again, use your discretion, pick needles that you think are going to work for your design at hand, and then just see what happens. Have fun with it. That's why I recommend practicing on fake skin. You don't really have the room to practice and see what happens on human skin, so always practice on fake skin. Again, this is real skin. I do leave links in the description so you can check them out. And then I'm going to pull this line straight right here. As you see, I'm committing after I found my comfortability. Like so. And I do feel that this was a great choice to go with the 0011 round liner for this area right there. This is a 0011, not a standard. And then I'm going to ask the client to turn this way so that way I can get these lines going right here. Find your positioning where you're comfortable, and then commit. like so. Then you can do the same thing with the line under it. Find your 3 points. Hit that dermis and commit. Like so. I ask the client to come this way, so that way I can work it this way. Find my 3-point stance there, or my 3-point pull. Get comfortable, and then I'm going to commit. As you see though, I'm taking my time, I'm being consistent, I'm being cool, calm, collected with each and every way, each and every line I'm pulling to make the absolute best results that I can happen. Same thing, 3-point pull. So just like that, we're building this tattoo, and you can really see it start coming to life here on video together as we complete this here. And I'm just gonna repeat this over and over and over and over again until the entire tattoo is complete. And I cannot exhaust it. You're gonna hear me saying the same thing over and over and over because that's what I'm using. I'm using the same fundamentals, the same basics to complete this tattoo right here. And these lines right here, if I'm going to do these, I feel more comfortable pulling them towards me. So I'm going to ask the client to stay straight like this. I'm going to find my 3-point positioning. And then I'm going to begin to commit. Hit that dermis and finish the rest with confidence. Same thing over and over and over. Find my 3-point pull, comfortable positioning, hit that dermis and commit. As you can see, I'm taking my time. No line that I'm pulling is ever immaculately perfect. I don't believe in that. I really don't believe in perfection. However, I do believe in trying our best, and that's what I'm definitely doing right here. And as you see, every time I'm doing it, nothing changes. My positioning changes. My positioning stays the same. The only thing that changes is the line that I'm doing. And then I'm going to repeat that same process on this side. I can angle my client however I need to, maneuver however I need to. So you're getting the drift. Hopefully by now you're understanding that your comfortability before pulling the lines should be a priority. The way that I see it is a client is going to have to be uncomfortable momentarily to wear something that they're going to wear for the rest of their life. So it's worth the trade-off to be uncomfortable for a few moments so that way we can do the best that we can do to input the line as best as we possibly can as the artist. So I'm going to allow you to observe me, and then we can close out the video here in a moment. I also have a Patreon that offers you the ability to ask me exclusive questions that are tailored to your specific tattooing needs and privacy. You can go ahead and message me directly and get a reliable response in a timely manner. I'll leave the link for my Patreon below so you can check that out for those who want that sort of one-on-one tattoo guidance, tattoo support. As you see, with my right hand, I'm putting a considerable amount of pressure down to keep the client stable still, so that way I can really input the ink where I need to input it. And these are the results that we got right there on that little front grill area. Allow me to pull these last lines with you all, and then we can kind of close out the video here. And again, the 3-point stretch, I'm going to make sure that I'm comfortable before I commit. As soon as I lost my comfortability, I just went ahead and tapered out. I can always taper back in, as opposed to trying to risk it. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. Tapering in and out, and then I'm going to do the same thing with this area over here. Allow me to do one last configuration here with you all, and this one's a 3-round liner, a standard 3-round liner from Mast. And whenever I use a configuration this small, I'm going to typically take it down to about 6.5 volts to line. I don't want to be lining at a full 8. I found smoother results lining at 6.5 with a smaller configuration. And I'm just going to line this area right here just to demonstrate that nothing changes besides the lines themselves and the line weights that we are using. So again, I did fluctuate in voltage from 8 to 6.5 for a smaller configuration, and then everything else is still the same. So I'm going to find my 3-point positioning, and then I'm going to begin implementing the lines. It's a bit too much splatter for my liking, so I didn't commit. So the only thing that changes is the configuration of needle that you are using. The same rules of thumb still apply, the same fundamentals still apply in terms of how you're going to apply the ink. Very simple, very straightforward. You can choose to outline it, you can choose to dot it. If you're going to do dot work, the choice is going to be up to you. However, the fundamentals are still going to apply. You're still going to want to make sure that you're comfortable. You're still going to want to make sure that you're able to achieve the results that you're trying to achieve. So here we are at a top view, and I want to show you the nice, clean, consistent, saturated results that we are achieving with this approach right here. So essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue with this approach, with this headspace, with this tattooing style until I've completed the entire outline of the tattoo. From there, I can go in and begin to add dot work, shading, whatever that I need after I've completed the outline to the best of my ability. So a quick and final recap: before you start committing to the lines, make sure the design is within your skill set capabilities. Once you determine all the needles that you're going to be using, make sure that your positioning and comfortability is where it needs to be before you start committing to inputting the line. So in a nutshell, that's what I really wanted to exhaust and demonstrate within this video. Now, if I didn't touch base on anything specific that you may have wanted to know on your end, please feel free to drop a comment down below. I highly encourage you to do so. I will do my absolute best to assist you in the best possible direction. I also have social medias all under the same name as this YouTube channel. I have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. I also have a Patreon in which I would truly appreciate y'all support on there as well. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for me and ring that bell, as I'm going to be bringing more videos like this for you all. Thank you for tuning in yet again. You have a great day.